What is up, everybody? Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Welcome to the channel, everyone. In today's video, we're gonna talk about the summoning event that's going to happen this weekend, and we're gonna have a sneak peek at the full reveal for the new dungeon bosses. We're gonna check their skills, and man, they're no good news, okay? They're literally no good news whatsoever. I am still waiting on data mine information whenever it's gonna appear in the game to find out what sort of stats the bosses will have, but let's quickly jump into the summoning event, then we're gonna move over and talk about the bosses. So, Friday, 3rd of March, they're planning to launch a special 10x event to summon the following champions from Ancient, Sacreds, and Void Shards. So, we're gonna have the very first Void Legendary, which is gonna be to Hanorek. We actually have only one Void Legendary on the 10x. She is an amazing champion. Hydra, absolutely a beast, and if you want to use her in different content, 100% doable. She's kind of like a Doom Priest on steroids. With the A1, she lends decreased speed, continuous heal, decreased attack, then block buffs, and a debuff spread effect, taking two random debuffs from the target and placing them on all enemies. That's what makes her good with Astrolith in Arena for a bomb team. If you don't have a Vizier, you can use to Hanorek or the other way around. Up to you, kind of like what you want to do. She's a very, very solid champion. Then we have increased defense, increased speed on a 3-turn cooldown for all the team, and this passive that removes a random debuff from all allies at the start of each turn, removes 2 random debuffs if the allies are under continuous heal buffs, plus you have an accuracy aura for all battles, 70 accuracy. She has amazing base stats. But yeah, guys, the one thing you need to keep in mind, 10x events are not great, okay? You definitely don't have amazing chances at summoning the champions. From Void Shards, you still have a better chance at getting the targeted champion. But if we're talking about Sacreds and Ancients, it's literally like winning the lottery. You gotta get extremely, extremely lucky in order to happen, you know? Plus, the chances to summon Legendary and Epics are still staying the same. Now, if we're gonna move over to the next Legendary, this is actually a beast of a champion, guys. Love him. He's amazing for dungeons. I'm curious to see how he's gonna perform in the new hard mode dungeon stages. We have Theodore right here. Super powerful, amazing base stats, AoE decreased speed, poison sensitivity, increased speed. That's on all enemies, on all allies with increased speed. And here, increases the duration of poisons, HP burn, and then detonates them, places a weaken for 2 turns on enemies not under poison or HP burn. This is again a very, very powerful. It just melts the spider. You guys know how it works. If you have HP burn, it melts the other bosses with poison. So Theodore is a very, very powerful champion. Plus again, accuracy aura for all battles, 50 accuracy. The champion's resistance is increased by 5 for each poison debuff on the enemy team. So it allows you to build him with less resistance basically, and kind of like go and melt everything in his way. Awesome champion. The next one that we have on the 10x was actually a guaranteed at some point. I personally don't have him because I skipped the guarantee that I didn't have the shards. Nekmotar, great for Hydra. We have AoE decreased attack, AoE decreased speed and leech. Then we have increased speed on all allies. We fill the turn meter and grants an extra turn. And the passive fills this champion's turn meter by 5 each time a debuff on the enemy is removed, transferred, or expires. Super powerful for Hydra, guys. Honestly, there's so many good teams out there with Nekmo, so if you're getting lucky to pull one, hell yeah. Plus, we have a speed aura for all battles. Base stats are pretty decent. Not that amazing, but not too bad either. 17k HP, almost 1.2k defense. The next legendary that we have on the 10x, and that's no one else but Lady Kimi. Very, very powerful champion. Not as powerful in the current meta in Arena though, I gotta say it. So if you're looking at a very high-end Arena, Lady Kimi, she's definitely slacking there because she just debuffs too much. We have Polymorph, which doesn't need to have a nerf because it's not that powerful as a blessing. But yeah, basically removes a random buff from each enemy, places block buffs, increased accuracy, increased speed, fills the turn meter of all allies. You have AoE decreased accuracy, decreased speed, and a chance to decrease the turn meter. The A1, a chance to decrease the turn meter on a single target and on an additional one. Then the passive, whenever the champion places a debuff on an enemy, also decreases that enemy's turn meter by 5 for each debuff. And whenever this champion or an ally receives a debuff, fills their turn meter by 5 for each debuff received. Plus we have speed aura for Doom Tower battles. Very good base stats, 115 speed. She's still great to be used as a turn meter booster if you're looking at it like that. Still great for Hydra, great for other content. Not as powerful for high-end arena, but tag team arena, lower tiers of arena, she's gonna be a beast. Moving over to the epics, guys. We're gonna have no one else but Golden Reaper on the 10x. And I gotta say, it's kind of like a weak sauce epic, considering how many new champions we got that boost the turn meter and do other things. I still prefer to go with Apothecary, honestly. You're getting increased speed, turn meter on a 3-turn cooldown, attacks all enemies, small chance of landing decreased attack, and then attacks one enemy, has a chance to decrease the cooldown of one of a random ally skill by 1 turn, my bad. And you have accuracy aura for faction creeps. It's not a bad champion, but it's definitely power crept, you know, definitely quite a bit. Then we have no one else but Lady Annabelle. And don't even think about it. Don't even look there. Lady Annabelle, she can actually solo the Dreadhorn boss. She's a pretty solid champion. We have attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit heals the champion by 3% of their max HP. Attacks all enemies. Has a chance to land leech, decrease speed. And swaps HP with the target ally. If this champion's HP is equal to or higher than the target's after the swap, places a revive on that buff on the targeted ally for 2 turns. And she has this passive similar with Burangiri, if I'm not mistaken. Heals this champion by 50% of their max HP whenever an ally or an enemy dies. So as an epic, she's great if you're struggling with a Dreadhorn, with a Bommel boss. Put her on a regeneration set. I've actually done a guide on her. Feel free to check that out. She's gonna do an amazing job in there. Other than that, she's not really gonna be very important in most of the content. Yeah, she can be good for faction wars, but in dungeons and other stuff like that, she's not really the right material. If we're gonna look over and talk about the next champion, move over to the next champion. Skratch can't speak anymore. We have Claude, Beast Feeder with A1, has a chance to decrease crit rate, then places a shield on all allies, increase speed and increase accuracy on a 3-turn cooldown. This is a very powerful skill. Love this on him. Very good base stats as well. 110 base speed. Is a pretty useful champion, I would say. And then you have heals the ally with the lowest HP by 10% of their max HP at the start of this champion's turn. Definitely a pretty solid epic in my opinion. HP based champion. He's gonna be pretty helpful all around, especially for progression. And then we have one more, which honestly I just cannot remember the faction. Tagoar. I'm gonna quickly try to find him just by the name. There we go. So I think, was he part of the fusion or he wasn't part of a fusion? I can't even remember. Increase defense on the ally with the lowest HP, then attacks all enemies, increase speed buff on all allies for 2 turns, then heals all allies, and we have revives all that allies with 30% HP and puts a shield on them. Actually was not part of a fusion, I think was just added to the game. And decreases the damage received by allies with 50% HP or less by 10%. Decent epic, not a bad reviver for faction wars. Actually is gonna be pretty solid there. Looks pretty awesome as a champion, and funny enough, Tagoar, it just sounded like an orc. That's why I clicked there, guys. That being said, these are the 10x champions that we have this weekend. Let's bring in the big guns. Let's move over and talk about the skills, the new hero skills that we have for the new dungeons, guys. Man, I'm personally not very happy with it. I feel like a lot of you guys won't be very happy with it, and it's just, I don't know, when you feel that they're kind of like moving into the right direction, they're just taking two steps backwards. I feel like that's kind of like been the situation with Plarium all the time. In a way, it's not such a big deal. Like, hear me out. It's not such a big deal. I just still dislike the idea of how they're actually trying to kind of like push people towards it. So let's read the skills. Once we're gonna get there, you're kind of like gonna understand what I'm talking about. On the A1, attacks all enemies, destroys enemy max HP by 15% of the damage dealt, and when destroying max HP, will ignore shield buffs. So that's pretty interesting actually, because shields might not help you here. I've seen that Deadwood Jedi asked about it, but I missed reading the first skill. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty interesting. It seems like he might be able to destroy the HP even though if you have a shield on. So that's not gonna be that great. Attacks all enemies, places a 30% decreased speed and a decreased defense debuff for 3 turns, destroys enemy max HP by 15% of the damage dealt. So when he's gonna start the first turn, he's gonna use the A2 anyway. That's not gonna ignore shield, so shield is still gonna be helpful. Then the passives, guys, I feel like they changed a bit. Some of them, they have kind of like new mechanics, but this one starts the battle with a divine shield. While active, the shield reduces the damage. It's kind of like the same sort of story. Each hit Fyro takes decreases the strength of the shield. The shield will be broken with when hit enough times. The shield regenerates every turn, and then if Fyro starts a turn with the shield active, Fyro will attack all enemies one time. The attack will destroy each enemy's max HP. Tainted Fyro also heals at the start of every turn. The value of the heal and the damage dealt increases according to the strength of the shield at the time of the attack. I honestly don't remember if it's the same for the current Fire Knight. I haven't read the skills of the dungeon bosses that we currently have in game, probably since, I don't know, 2019 or something like that. Then instantly removes any freeze debuff placed on a Fyro, decreases his turn meter by 15 for each freeze debuff placed on him. When attack, destroys the attacker's max HP by 1% per hit if the divine shield is currently active. Then is immune to all the CC debuffs, of course, but hear this out. Awakened Weakness. Decreases the damage inflicted by the boss for each awakening level on the target champion. 2.5% for level 1 and 2, 5% for level 3 and 6, stacks up to 25%. So basically they're encouraging people to use blessings on their champions for dungeon teams as well. If you wanna have damage reduction from the boss, if you wanna do more damage on the bosses, increases the damage received by the boss for each awakening level on the attacking champion. 5% for level 1, 2, 10 for level 3, 6, stacks up to 50%. So if you have a high awakening, you're gonna get less damage and you're gonna deal more damage on the boss. Now this is honestly a big mistake in my opinion. I just dislike the idea of how they're trying to pinch people on with the awakening. Why they had to put this in here, I just don't understand it. It just shouldn't be like anything in the game like this, you know, like it's just not normal in my opinion. But then on the other hand, it's not gonna be as insane as it might sound. Yeah, you're gonna be able to have some awakening on most of your champions if you are gonna be able to farm these stages, you know. So if you're gonna be able to farm most of these stages, probably you're gonna have a 1-star or a 2-star awakening on most of your main champions that you're planning to use. If no, slowly you're gonna be able to purchase 1-star soul or 2-star souls from the market just by doing your dailies. It's gonna be a longer grind. I just dislike the idea completely, but at the same time I don't think it's gonna be as impactful as it might sound. When we are talking about the damage dealt to the boss, it's gonna be more impactful. 50% more damage is actually pretty big, and that's something that the Krakens will want to do because they're gonna be able to farm the dungeon faster than the average Joe, basically, you know. So I'm definitely not gonna go out of the way to bust on soulstones because of this just to farm the dungeon 30 seconds faster. Hell no, I'm still gonna be good. If I want to farm a specific dungeon, I'm gonna probably leave it overnight anyway, you know. And then enemy max HP skills cannot exceed 10% of the boss's max HP. And that's the same for every single boss, guys. Every single boss has that passive, just to be clear, with the enemy max HP as well. So it's crystal clear for all of them. What I'm curious to find out is if I'm gonna have a 6-star awakening Royal Guard and the enemy max HP is kept at 10%, but my awakening allows me to do 50% more damage. Does that mean that I'm gonna deal more damage with enemy max HP skill? Which it should work like that, right? But if it doesn't, it's pointless to have awakening on these champions, you know. So we're gonna see exactly how it performs in game. I'm just saying, don't get too discouraged yet till we don't get to actually try it out and see how impactful it will actually be, you know. Then we have the dragon right here. So on the A1 attacks all enemies, we have a decreased attack. On the A2, attacks all enemies, places 4 poisons for 3 turns and a weaken, and an increased attack on the boss. Fully depletes the thermometer of all enemies, unlocks a secret skill, that's with the Draconic Gaze. And then Toxic Incineration, which is the secret skill, attacks all enemies. This attack deals pure damage. Pure damage means that ignores defense, ignores pretty much everything. That's the meaning of pure damage. Places a stun debuff for 1 turn. This debuff cannot be resisted. And instantly activates any 5% poison debuffs on each target. The damage received by each target depends on how many more turns the poison debuff placed on them would be active. So it's gonna work similar with Xayah, for example. If you have 5 poisons for 2 turn cooldown on the enemies, when she detonates, she's gonna blow them up. It's gonna do pretty much the same. I feel like decreased attack is gonna be so important if you wanna complete the dungeon, and this is mainly for the majority of people that are not at a very high end in the game, where they have all the crazy champions and they're just melting through content, you know. I feel like decreased attack might be very important. Cleansers will be very important. Block debuffs, stuff like this is gonna mean quite a bit, you know. We're not gonna go over the rest of the passives, guys, because they're exactly the same like on the other champion. Then we have the Ice Golem. The A1 attacks all enemies, the A2 attacks all enemies, decrease accuracy, decrease the thermometer of all enemies by 30%, and cleanses all the debuffs from himself. So whatever you're gonna land on him is gonna get removed. Then the first passive attacks all enemies 1 time whenever Tainted Clysis HP drops below 80, 60, 45, 30, and 15. This attack will revive any dead allies to 100%. This attack will ignore 50% of each target's defense for each alive ally. So when the Ice Golem is gonna revive both of the minions, he's gonna ignore 100% of the defense. It's gonna work similar with how it works now. This attack also has a 20% chance to land freeze, and freeze debuff increases by 40 for each alive ally, which is gonna get pretty damn high, almost 100%. If they're gonna be both alive, it's gonna be 100%. So block revive on them might still be important. Immune to poisons, poison sensitivity, receives 10% more damage from HP burn, and whenever HP burn debuff is activated on a Clysis or his minions, destroys this minion's max HP by 5%. Whenever a smite debuff is activated on a Clysis or his minions, destroys the minion's max HP by 10%. Destroyed max HP cannot exceed 50%. So you're gonna be able to destroy 50% of their HP. Again, immune to pretty much everything. Same awakening, weakness passive. And then we have the Spider. With the A1 attacks all enemies, damage increases by 15 if the target is under poison debuffs. The A2 attacks all enemies, decreases the thermometer. If the thermometer is fully depleted, places a sleep debuff. The debuff cannot be resisted. And spawns 6 tainted spiderlings at the start of the round. Spawns 2 spiderlings at the start of each enemy champion's turn. Spawns 4 at the end of the tainted Skaven's turn. He can have a maximum of 10 spiderlings in battle at any time. I thought that on the regular one they are 11. I might be mistaken on it. I don't remember correctly. I thought that they were 11, but even if they are 11, this is only gonna have 10 by the looks of it. So it's gonna make it a bit harder for you to kill the boss faster, I guess, because it's gonna get damage when you kill spiderlings. It will consume spiderlings, similar with the current boss. Then it will get a heal, similar with the current boss, increase the attack. Heals from lifesteal artifacts and skills that heal based on damage inflicted will only heal champions by 35% of the stated amount when attacking Tainted, especially if you have AoE champions. Immune to heal reduction, decreased speed, and HP burn debuffs, as well as thermometer reduction effects. Whenever HP burn debuff is activated, heals the Skavek by 1% of her max HP. And when a spiderling dies, inflicted damage equal to 3% of her max HP. So it's gonna take a bit of time to kill it. HP burn is still gonna be good because it's only a heal of 1%, so it's not gonna be, I think, that impactful. But we're gonna get to see 1% for each enemy alive, I guess. That's how it's gonna count in. And then pretty much the same thing like on the rest. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. What do you think of this freaking Awaken Weakness passive, which I find it ridiculous. It just shouldn't be here. I'm a bit disappointed with Plarium for even considering to put something like this. It just doesn't really show much respect to the average player, you know. But we're gonna get to see how impactful it will actually be. How I mentioned, don't get discouraged just yet. We're gonna try it out. We're gonna do some testing, and then we're gonna see if it's mandatory to have them, you know. That was all for this video. Much love, appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all soon in the next one. Peace.